I'm Pastor George Borkhardt, and this is another Higher Things video short. The fall actually happened. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. Adam and Eve in the garden, not a myth, not a story, not a bedtime story that we tell our kids to try to explain while they're naughty, not nice. The fall, Adam and Eve's fall into sin, happened, and it has lasting effects. And the only fix for it is Christ. In fact, everything about it points to our need for a Savior. Adam and Eve had everything. They had every tree in the garden for food. They had everything. They had dominion over the animals. They had everything. And they were given everything as a gift. It wasn't a domain of the law. It was gospel-y free. God loved them. They received that love. It was undeserved and unmerited. Don't eat from the tree in the midst of the garden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, you will surely die. Eat that tree. The Hebrew is dead, you'll be. Dead, surely dead. It doesn't even matter whether they knew what death was or not. And it doesn't matter whether if they hadn't a sin, whether they would have lived forever, because they did sin. They ate what wasn't given them to do because they took their ears off the preaching of the word and set their ears on the preaching of the serpent. They wanted to be their own God. They wanted to be master of their own universe, even though they were masters of their own universes. And they had everything. They wanted what wasn't given to them. And it wasn't that Adam was someplace far off and Eve did it all by herself. He was right there with her. She ate, she gave it to her husband who was with her, and they fell. And they were, as the serpent said, like God. They knew good and evil, but what they found out about themselves was that they were evil. Now, if the story stopped there, it would stop with separation from God. And it would stop with punishment, curses on the man that he would work and die. Dust you are, and dust you shall return. That even the ground would fight him. And to the woman that she would love her husband and he would be a punk, and that she would have pain in childbirth. But that's not the final word. The final word is what's going to happen to the serpent. The serpent is going to get crushed. The serpent is going to be done in. One of the woman's seed is going to crush his head. And when you crush the head of a serpent, it dies. But if that snake bites you, that poisonous venom is injected into you, even though the serpent dies, you might die too. That's Christ. He is the end of the serpent. That's Good Friday and Easter. Without the fall, there is no need for Good Friday and Easter. Without the fall, we don't have a need for Jesus. And we have no promise that he would have come to save us from the fall. Now, a few other gospel-y nuggets from the fall is that God clothes his people. He sacrifices the animals in order to clothe them so that they would be baptismally covered, pre-baptism. And then he kicks them out of the garden, not because he's a real mad God, but so that he could send a Savior, so that we wouldn't be separated from God forever. That's the fall into sin. The fall not only shows our sin and our failure in Father Adam, but it also shows God's grace in promising a Savior, clothing those who have fallen, and saving them, even from themselves. It happened. It actually happened, and we need it to happen because we need a Savior. We need someone to crush the head of the serpent. I'm Pastor George Borkhardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.